Hello and welcome to the maiden edition of the Penalty Box.
You are firm and you are sure that you can move and you can score. Here's the ball, there's the net. Double, kick it, ready, set. That's what you came for, right? Score a goal! Lights, fans, football rocks. We got it all right here in the penalty box.
I'm Peter Clottey, and joining me today, Sonny Young of the Sunny Side of Sports, and of course I have Carla Bob and Hakeem Shamu. So let me go to the lady first. Carla, will Brazil be able to present all the stadiums?
That is the question of the day, isn't it? I mean, they still don't have 3 stadiums ready. They don't even have their airports completely ready. So it's not even a question of will they be ready. They have to be ready, and then they have to have security, because you're thinking of people from all over the world coming, a stadium with tens of thousands of people. You need to secure them, and you have to have a place ready so then people can come in and secure them. And I just don't think they've got it together.
And also, if we look back 4 years to South Africa had all their stadiums ready at this point.
I think there's only 2 that's not ready yet. Overall, you know, if the world is ready for this World Cup, I think Brazil will be ready for the World Cup.
Well, I hope so. Now, let's look at the players who will be playing in the tournament. Everybody is talking about Ronaldo and, of course, Messi, the 2 Ballon d'Or winners.
Of course.
Now, are we going to see stars come of age in this tournament?
I'll put forth, Peter, 2 players for the Reds of Liverpool having a tremendous season in the English Premier League. Luis Suarez from Uruguay. As we speak, he has 30 goals for Liverpool. His teammate, Daniel Sturridge, has 20. Sturridge will be playing for England. They're in the same group as Uruguay, so we're going to see a lot of that. We're going to see teammates playing against each other.
And I'm going to go with what the Belgian national coach said. He said, if I had to choose between Messi, Ronaldo, Neymar, or Azar, I would go with Eden Hazard. I think he's fantastic. I think he's fun to watch. If anybody has any doubts, watch his game against Newcastle when he got that hat trick. He's going to really blow people's minds.
Hakeem?
I think a lot of youngsters from the Belgium are going to do really, really well, not just Hazard. But you guys are taking out Brazil out of the out of the box there. You guys, I can't believe you guys are not talking about Neymar. Neymar may be struggling a little bit in Barcelona, but I think when he plays for Brazil, he seems more comfortable because he knows a lot of Brazilians and he's played with them a lot. Like a lot of these youngsters, they kind of grew up together.
Let's look at, okay.
Can I throw in one more name, Peter? Yaya Toure from Manchester City and Ivory Coast. Great form this season. 18 goals already in the EPL. He looks like he's ready to score a few goals in Brazil.
He's been their talisman all for the last 2 years. I mean, he's the main glue for the Manchester City side. Now, let's look at some of these teams. A lot has been mentioned of Brazil and some South American teams. Some European teams have been mentioned. Of course, Spain cannot be wished away. You have Netherlands, although sometimes they get, some people will say, hiccups when it comes to the international arena. There are some teams that could pull out some strings. Let me come to you, Hakeem.
In South America, there's a couple of teams that I think the world could look for in this World Cup. Honduras, Colombia. Colombia will be a good example, but depending on Falcao to see if he's going to be ready for the World Cup. Overall, Colombia I think is a great team overall, and I think they could do great in this World Cup.
I'm going to go. Here's a name from Africa, Nigeria, Super Eagles of Nigeria. I like their group. They're with Iran, Bosnia, and I think they can get out of that group. And if they do, maybe a few surprises.
An African team. Okay, Carla, apart from Belgium, which team do you think can pull up a surprise there?
Well, I've said this many times, and a lot of people think I'm crazy, but I think Spain is the team to beat. I really do. I know that a lot of people go, oh, well, it's never been done. There's never been back-to-back World Cups, but nobody ever thought that they were going to win 3 majors. That had never been done before. And this team is getting older, but there are still enough superstars there to carry this team, with the midfield especially. I don't see them having any difficulties advancing in this tournament.
But what do you say to people who say that they were dismantled by Brazil playing the same style of football, and people have really recognized their patterns? So teams or coaches have come up with plans to counteract and neutralize them, and that is how Brazil were able to defeat them
Well, that's true, but the great part about the Spanish team is they're always adjusting. And I mean, if you mentioned Brazil, I have to say Pele himself was just interviewed by Time Magazine, and he said if I had to pick any team to be on currently, I would pick FC Barca, and we all know which team has the most FC Barcelona players. That would be the Spanish team. So I think they're going to be just fine.
I was gonna say she forgot to mention Diego Costa. I think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna shine for his team. For his new team, I should say, because he chose Spain over Brazil, and I think a lot of Brazilians will see that as maybe as a bad thing. I don't know.
Now, Sonny, let me come to you about weather conditions. A lot of European teams have complained about the tropical weather that will be that these teams will be playing under when they get to Brazil. Some of them are saying that, well, some of these South American and African teams could do better than the European teams. What do you say to that?
I think there will be a period where these teams will try to acclimate to the conditions in Brazil, and more than a few of the teams are coming right here to the USA just prior to Brazil. They're going to play a few warm-up matches, friendly exhibition matches, to try to get used to that weather, the heat, the humidity. We talk about the Africans playing maybe in the heat, but we know that the best African players have been competing in Europe, where the conditions are different. Right. So I think there is a period where you have to get used to the weather. So it will definitely be a factor.
Depending on certain teams, yeah. I think some of them have never been used to playing in the humidity. I looked in the chart, and especially in June, that area where it stands, I think a lot of those, majority of Brazil, it's like over 100%, nearly 100% humidity in June. So I think it's going to be, for some teams, I think it may be a factor.
Now, Carla, let me come to you. Some of these teams are going to be traveling great distances to go play. Do you think that will have an impact on their performances during the tournament?
The good thing is that all the teams have to do it. But the bad thing is it's going to affect all the players, and you don't want that happening during a World Cup. You have teams that are going thousands of kilometers to get from point A to point B in some of these situations. So I wish that it would have been planned a little bit differently to where they wouldn't have had to do that. But you know, I'm not at Brazil, and I'm not planning the World Cup.
Sonny, the U.S. is going to
you know, Carla was talking about those teams that are traveling great distances, and the red, white, and blue of the USA, I think they're going to be traveling as much, if not more, than any other team in Brazil. That has to be a factor. I mean, if you go from, say, Manaus way up in the Amazon all the way back to Rio or Sao Paulo, that's a great distance. And if you only have a few days between matches, I think it could be a factor.
Well, let us not forget that some of these teams are taking extraordinary measures to be prepared for the tournament. An example is Germany building its own base. Now, some people are not leaving anything to chance.
Of course, you want to do as much as you can to make your players as secure as possible, as healthy as possible. And it's hard because when you're traveling a lot, I'm an athlete. I had to travel, hours to get from point A to point B, and you're tired, and you just want to go to sleep after driving or flying or doing whatever you want to do. And I think that, if they've got the money and they've got the support to do it, way to go, Germany.
I did mention the USA. To their credit, what Klinsmann, their German coach, has done, he traveled to Brazil, I think about 6 months out, and they are setting up their base in Sao Paulo, I believe, and they're basically going to stay there and then sort of go out to the various venues that they play at. But they have a set base, and so they are trying to get used to what they're going to experience in Brazil well in advance. That said, they still got to travel. So we'll see what happens.
And they've still got some pretty difficult teams to play.
All right. Thank you very much. This is where we will say goodbye for now. I will continue as the tournament draws closer. My name is Peter Clottey, and I had with me Sonny Young of Sunny Side of Sports, Carla Barb, and as usual, Hakeem Shamu. Goodbye for now.
Ba 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 ba.